Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Throwbacks with SPC. I am your host, Ricia Paul, and today I am joined with my boss and co-host, Mr. John Arnold. He's a man that
Okay.
wears many, many hats. Today, he is here in his capacity as executive coordinator here at Show Park Complex. Throwbacks with SPC is meant to be a walk down memory lane as we look at the successes of the events that we have facilitated. We're going to be doing this through the lens of our stakeholders. So these are not just artists that would have graced the stage in our main auditorium, but event promoters as well as organizations that have successfully hosted events over the years with us. Mr. Arnold, welcome to the show. We are also
Thank you,
joined
Ristia.
by Mr. Randy Glasgow. I don't think that I really need to say more, but in case you have been living under a rock, Mr. Glasgow is I guess I don't know, a top name in entertainment. He has
Well,
had
the
over
premier, one of the
sorry, I
premier
stand
promoters.
corrected. He has had over 2 decades of experience in the business. So many different events and ventures, quite successful. He has facilitated events here at Show Park with us, and we're so glad to have you, Mr. Glasgow, as our first guest on Throwbacks with SBC. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for
Welcome,
having me.
Randy.
Yes, it's a pleasure being here. I'm wonderful. I'm excited to speak about your wonderful facility in Tobago. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, so we could definitely kick things off. Can you recall what was it that got you into just the love of hosting events and organizing events?
It started in school, and coming out of school, we went back to school in the United States to do entertainment business and sports and so forth. But we always felt we wanted to work for ourselves. And that was the motivation, to be your own boss. So we started, as you said, about 20 years ago, doing different events, and we started with the Super Monarch. Basically, when we left school, we joined Mr. Monroe at the Super Monarch, and we took the Super Monarch for a few years, and we made some changes and took it to another level. And then we thought, after a couple of years at Super Monarch, it was time for us to branch off on our own, and we started things like the Youth Fest. We started Ladies Night Out. We started Chutney Brass. So we did things across the board for different genres. So we felt
Yeah.
sort of being multifaceted, and our ability, to tap into the different markets, the different demographics, and they all welcome us with open arms, and we went from strength to strength.
Nice.
So tell me, Randy. I mean, it's funny that I've known you all these years, and some of the things you just said, I did not know. So we keep learning in this business. But what for you would have been? I know that you started along that way, but was there ever a time you said, you know what, I think I don't want to do this anymore?
Well, fortunately for us, we love the culture. And while in the United States, after studies in New York University and so forth, we were offered jobs at World Wrestling Federation at the time, but we wanted to come
Right.
home, to promote the culture. And we we know there will be good times and bad times, but we are in it for the long haul. So we gonna fight with the bad times, fight with the bad times. So back to the question, we always want to do this, and we will continue to do this.
Okay.
Can you remember like the number of events that you've had at Shaw Park, or can you remember the most memorable and successful one with us?
We had about three events at Shaw Park, I think, in more
Yeah.
recent time. The last one would have been Calypso Rose and Marshall.
Oh,
Before that we had the comedy alternative comedy festival. But
The first comedy,
yes,
the first
yes.
big one you had. Yeah.
But the
That
alternative
was
comedy
a
festival.
yes, the
Yeah.
alternative comedy festival. Yeah.
And we your facility, I think, we are amazed by it, intrigued in the sense that John, I don't know if you ever give it some thought, but Shore Park facility is double the size of Napa and Sapa put together. So it's a where you can go into a facility holding 3,000 plus people. It has its own logistics, create and sound system and so forth. So I think, once other promoters open their mind and look at the facility itself, it's a promoter's dream.
One of the points I make all the time about Shore Park is that the stage is not a fixed stage, and I think it's one of the best advantages we have in that we can move the stage completely off the floor, and we can have exhibitions, and we have done it. We have had expositions, we have done it. And it's amazing. I remember one time when Tuco had a show there, they actually used the whole forecourt to do all the props, cars, real cars coming in and all that. And I think the multifunctionality of the facility has augured well. And I think that is one of the things we have to, again, try to appeal to many more promoters like yourself to come and experience this in Tobago. I think that's one of the greatest. I know you talked about the fact that we hold 3,700 patrons, and we've only had one event which has challenged us to take us to that number so far. But we would love to see many more events take us to the 3,600 mark.
Mr. Glassy, you definitely went ahead and answered one of the questions that I had further down the line about what sets Shore Park apart from other venues. However, what I'm wondering is, I see that you clearly have a great rapport with Mr. Arnold. What was it like for you and your team working with our Shore Park team? Because I know that is very integral when it comes to planning an event, just to support from the venue and all of that. What has that experience been like for you?
It's coming to Shore Park, we are accustomed with Trinidad, but coming to Shore Park, it's a whole different vibe. I think, you have a staff who are there to help, who are there to make sure your event comes off, as you want it to. And it's different in Trinidad, where in Trinidad it's all business. You come in, you have to move out, so forth. With Shore Park, it's different. Shore Park is a joy, and we really, really enjoy doing events there. And it's our hope and wishes to do more, because we can't be so close and have such wonderful facility and not take advantage of it. So it's just to put the mechanism in place to get the locals to come out and to get Trinidad to buy in, because a lot of Trinidad, probably will have never been to Shore Park. So our job is to give them a taste of Shore Park, and I think once they have their taste of that, they will always come back. Because what people don't know, basically, Shore Park probably is the biggest, most convenient facility in the Caribbean. You have to go probably North America Radio City Hall. So Shore Park is a smaller version of Radio City Hall in terms of capacity. But in terms of your production and so forth, it's a wonderful scene, wonderful experience for the patrons. Nice chairs, comfortable seating. The bathrooms are wonderful. Your entrance is wonderful. So I think sooner or later, people would realize what a gem Shore Park is.
Yeah, I think one of the events that really made me kind of really realize what a facility we have in a small island, 116 square miles, but something significant, was when we hosted a show for the Chinese embassy in collaboration with the government. Because I think what was good about that was their technical people sent lighting designs, sound designs, and all of that we were able, our staff our guys, Fabian, everybody, were able to get all those things ready. So when they landed, the same day they landed, they were able just to execute the lighting, the sound, and an amazing show. And that's when I realized, that day I realized, I think Shore Park is not just local, domestic, it's international, you know?
And what we would do, as you know, John, we sit as the chairman of the Promoters Association, and a lot of the guys that are into the fets and so forth, the outdoor events, but there are a few guys who do, like myself, who do indoor events. And I telling those guys that, when you're doing the circuit, basically they do San Fernando, they do Port of Spain, you must include Tobago. And it's something we want to do, because the Tobago is bigger, just like Napa, just like Napa in terms of what you offer the experience. And we would work harder to get the sponsors. You need some sponsors, you need some support, to make it happen. But I think things will be different past COVID. Events will be different. Everybody will think differently. So expect shock.
Well, as you jump there, what in your mind will be some of the things the event industry, in your own mind, the event industry will have to now make as some of the adjustments we have to look at?
Well, you said nicely.
I have some thoughts, my own thoughts, but
yeah, I mean, we as promoters will be concerned with capacity, because you have to make a profit to survive and to go on. And one of the advantages you would hold, if we have to go now, presently you have to probably go 25% less or 30% less of the capacity. Right. In your scenario, if you go 25-30% less, you're still doing 2,000 people, so you are well prepared, to give us the incentive and motivation to do events.
This says we have some advantage there. Yeah.
Yes. So we will be expressing that to the guys, and hopefully, because in my heart I want to see Tobago facility take off, very active, because you can't be so nice and have all these amenities and so forth, and being underutilized. So
let me ask you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, good point. But let me ask you something, Randy, because as we on this, the patrons, the customers, the audience, and a lot of times we don't look at that as a significant factor. For Tobago, we have a population of 55K plus, and one of the key things is that we always have the challenge of audience, right? Over the 5 years we've been operating, we've realized that the audience building is one of the things we have to look at, because you really, unless you choose a time when there are a lot of Trinis on the island, you've got to depend now on the local, right? So if for example, I take my choir to Trinidad, I can full Queen's Hall, 750, I can go to Napa.
Yes.
But here, again, the market of people who are going to come to a show like that will be quite different than Tobago. So my question is, post-COVID, how do we keep, or should I say it the other way around, do you think that audiences will have a fear of going out now, or at least for the next year, and so our audiences will now shrink?
I think...
You with me?
Yes, I'm with you. I think we will try to maintain the same levels, but you have to go about it smarter. Post-COVID, people will be going out with friends. Mm-hmm. So you probably no longer have to sell a ticket for one person, a group ticket, where you can sit together, line together, create your distances. So the promotion will take a different angles. Because this will be the trend. People no longer going to by themselves.
Right.
They're not going to,
why do you say that?
Well, I guess people will be scared for a number of reasons going out there and in close contact with people who you don't know. So you want to be with people you know the history and support, because
I got you. Yeah.
People don't have their concept. But in your scenario, our events, we get good crowd in Tobago and so forth, but you always want to know why you can't max out. And you hear people saying in Tobago, well, the place is too cool. We can't get drink. So these are simple things. So when I'm coming back to Throw Park, I will try to address these two issues. That's the two issues people are not in Tobago don't want to go Shore Park. It's cold, it's too cold, and we can't drink. So
well, no. The rule about you can't drink is not true. You can drink, but you can drink in the concession area. Yeah. Well, I mean, but I think you as a promoter can appreciate a venue like Shore Park. We need to have at least one flagship venue that becomes that can adapt and certainly be one that international people can come and know that they're walking into something that at least admonishes best practice. The eating and drinking in the hall certainly can't work for the kind of for the ambience, for the, I want to use the word gardening, health of the facility and the care of the facility. I mean, one of the compliments we get right now from several patrons is the way the place is kept. And when you add that to the ambience of our art collection and all of that, I mean, it's really something that we have to, and I don't want to talk about some of the bad experiences we've had where patrons have broken the rules and what they have done. Just chewing gum alone.
Yes.
I don't have to tell you. You know what I mean? Those who know the old boats know how the old boats, the seats, how they look, with some of the chewing gum and so on. So I think we've had to make that change in the minds and psyche that people, you want to drink and eat, you just go. And I mean, the same thing happens,
yourself,
in Queen's Hall, in Napa, all of those. It's not a community center, it's a performing art theater. And I, for one, have really been to several theaters, as you know, all over the world, right? And that is standard. You eat outside. Now, if the venue is one that is like when you go to NBA in the States, that's what it is. You eat and because that's part of the event.
Yes.
But I don't know coming to look at a nice show that we need to be dealing with somebody eating their roti behind you and you have to deal with that smell and
no.
You know what I mean? Or they stick in there, they eat the mango, they preserve mango, and they drop it on the ground. I tell you, these are things we experience, people bringing things secretly in the pocketbooks and what have you, and we have to deal with it, So I think I hear you with that concern, but I think the other advantages outweigh that.
Is that a concern? I guess is you have to probably program the people's minds and so forth. So, but it's you're in dialogue. You want to know, because we follow things happening all over the Caribbean, in Tobago in particular, and you always scared and you want to know why, and it's something to fix. Because I mean, Napa you can't even jump inside the hall. Sapa you can't. No prestigious space you can do it. So it's just to find a way to let Tobago know.
But about the coldness, you mentioned it.
Yes.
Well, boy, we have just, as you know, that has been a nightmare. Reese, I can tell you that too. For us for the last 2 years, in that our facility is located right next to the sea, and the sea blast has literally give us a real hard time. What we have done now is we have just replaced all three chillers.
Okay.
So, and what they've done this time is they've now treated them, all right, treated them prior to installation, so that we should have at least 12 to 15 years without having too many of the problems we used to have. Now, what I just said now puts you back to it might be colder.
Yeah, definitely gonna have complaints moving forward with brand new chillers.
Yes, if you get the crowd, the body absorbs the coolness. So it's
correct.
To get the formula to bring out the crowds. And I think, you're not going to get a lot of events like the past, but when you have an event, expect quality, expect whatever, so I think we will find a way to bring out the crowd to Tobago.
Mr. Glasgow, I just wanted to touch back on something that you would have said earlier. When it comes to the future of events, you were saying that promoters should probably look into the possibility of bundling as a marketing tool. So not just looking to sell a ticket to one person, but group tickets for people to come in safety with their friends, so that at least they could interact with their friends. What other strategies are you personally that you might want to share that you are and your team are looking at as we go, in the post-COVID era as it relates to the entertainment landscape?
All right. In the sense of other promoters and their thinking, when you go outdoors, you're faced with enormous expenses. You're building your stage and so on and so forth. Your facility offers all that. So we as a promoter can afford to make our admission fee affordable, because we are saving. We don't have to build a stage that costing about $60,000. We don't have to bring in a sound system that is costing like $40,000. We don't have to bring lighting that is costing like another $40,000, and all the tents and so forth. You have to, to create to make an event. And your facility with a capacity of 3,500 is ideal for big events, for promoters who thinking it is so much cheaper. So the concept basically is to find a way to get people inside of those facilities. And it would be done because the funds would be hard to come by. The strong people, working on a budget and so forth. So you have to find ways to make your product affordable. You have to cut the expenses, and everybody will be happy. And also, I think, John, the Ministry of Culture, probably you could reach out to the minister and the ministry when they're promoting Napa and Sapa and Queen's Hall. Shore Park should be in that package.
Yes, totally agree on that.
Yeah. We're going to address that.
Yeah, we're actually working on that right now. Yeah.
Don't work on that. Yeah. I think one of the things we have been able to do is, funny enough, in the earlier years, we collaborated a lot with Queen's Hall and some of the technical people, and some of them we know very well. Now I see my friend Marlon DeViek is actually in charge of Naparima. We have started the discussion. Earlier we spoke about it, how we can start talking about how we collab, in terms of strategies and in terms of how we co-market, because part of the thing now, I think, post-COVID, in fact, what I learned over COVID is that the collaborative efforts have become so much more important. The networking, everything, we have to work together. There's absolutely no way.
There must be a level of unity. Also with promoters and artists. In pre-COVID, you get 4 and 5 events on the same night. Post-COVID, promoters have to say, listen, you pick a night.
Yeah.
And we will support you.
Yes.
That's what we have to do.
Yeah.
So I think, COVID opened a lot of eyes and so forth, and I think will be for the betterment of our culture. Things will happen, across the board. You have to be smart, you have to be sharp, and you have to do research, you have to listen, you have to learn, and and do things for the masses.
Yeah. We said you were going to ask, so you.
No. You could go ahead with what you were gonna say, and then you.
So my other thing I just needed to tell you, because one of the things about these throwbacks is that I know you've had a few shows there, and yes, we noted some of the changes over time, and then of course we had to now look at the future post COVID. But one of the things I wanted to tell you was that I think having Shore Park has afforded several people the opportunity. I was sharing this with Reese also. We're right here in Tobago. We have loads of cultural groups, loads of artists, loads of. But you know what? Now is the time, I think, for people to understand you have a facility, and if you have a facility, the facility can facilitate you and create the enabling environment for you to do what you have to do. So all promoters have to do, and when I say promoters, I mean people who are in charge of groups, artistic directors, people, is really work on productions. And one of the weak things I see here is that a lot more groups have not taken the time to start putting the energies, creating innovative projects, initiatives, preparing a program, right? I was in Ottawa year before at what they call this big cultural officers meet. And one of the things I noted was that in the city of Ottawa, even Toronto, all of them, they have what is called a grand jury, which is a body of independent people plus some government. You have a proposal, you make your proposal. I have a dance company. We want to do the history of folk dances in Tobago. We want to do it for archival purposes. We want to do it for development. We want to make a video that will be available for posterity, for learning, for kids, passing on succession, la la la. And you make that proposal and you put a budget, and that goes before the grand jury, and the grand jury says, yes, this will benefit community, it will benefit the country, it benefit the island, it benefit our youth, and they approve it's amazing how those things work. And I think that is what I would like to see happen as we move forward, that we have those kinds of enabling environment factors that allow people to now create, and they come, and part of that would be Shore Park becomes a part of the facilitation. And I think that way we get to use some of the capacity,
Yes.
In terms of the island.
Yes. Additionally, in terms of, free advice, be good like that.
Yeah. No, go ahead. Yeah.
Culture and sport go hand in hand. Your facility is ideal for a boxing match, for wrestling. There are certain indoor sport events or big sporting groups. If I can make reference, because of my connection or knowing people in the World Wrestling Federation, we made many attempts to bring them to Trinidad, but they wouldn't come because they are structured with live television, and every event goes live.
Yeah.
So the facility must be covered. Rain can interrupt the event.
Yeah.
And we chatting here and looking at your capacity. A boxing ring will be so nice by your venue. It's covered.
Well, I'm glad you brought it up.
So it's.
So I'm glad you brought it up.
Yes. Or also additionally.
Yeah.
The width of your forecourt. If you can hold a basketball court, basketball court is movable and so forth. There are a number of NBA teams, preseason and so forth, looking for venues outside the United States to come and have their training programs and so forth. And you're thinking again, and Shore Park is ideally suited, being the capacity and the totally covered and so forth. So, you know, come back to, you have a wonderful facility, the best in the Caribbean, that can seat 3,500 people, that is totally covered, air conditioned and so forth. So the, you know, our study sports and entertainment business. So if you all are open to sporting events like that, a boxing match, we have our boxing license, some wrestling, you know.
You still have to answer a number of questions, audience, and so on. But let me just answer you. So, sport was always one of the pillars thought of, but I think the thinking is that when we looked at the scheduling that was taking place, because of the fact that you don't have a fixed stage, so to build the stages up takes a while. So if a client says we want a two-tier stage, this is what happens, right? So we've had, even right now, we just had an agreement earlier pre-COVID to host a netball tournament.
Okay.
Right, but that would have entailed you have to now book it in such a way that there's absolutely no other event like 3 to 4, 5 days before and 3 to 4 days after.
Okay.
Because just the move to move back things where they are to build them takes a while. That's one. So we had a scheduling problem. So one, we realized we could not do schedule regular basketball or what have you. That needs an indoor sporting facility, which is being addressed. Because there were so many other kinds of events. Did you ever witness, for example, takes a building for 3 days? They do a convention for 3 days, right? And you have many other kinds of events that take place all the time. A lot of people pass and they see Shore Park, and sometimes they don't even know that there are a lot of things happening, or they see cars, and but there are all kinds of different publics that use Shore Park, and so it becomes really. I hear you with it. We are now actually looking at a proposal for a bodybuilding show, and they actually came, did the measurements. They needed a facility. They looked at it. And we had several meetings, and then came COVID. It's funny. So, and we also have a basketball floor that we also tested already. But again, to safeguard that, taking the advice of the professionals and the experts, because of how the floor was, they advised that we wait until we have a facility that can permanently put that floor down. Because if you have a situation where you're going to take it up, put it down, take it up, put it down, you have a challenge there over time. So, I mean, it's really looking at the investments that we have and looking at the use of what we have to do. But yes, your thoughts and ideas are fully accepted, and they certainly augur well, and we can look at that as we move forward. I think the last point I want to make, Aricia, is outdoor. So outdoor, we have had several car shows. We've had very fine, elite kind of all-inclusives, right? Where it's not going to be a guy going up on the wall and, urinating on the wall, or, a real classy kind of, So I think we have been looking at the outdoor also, because the idea in the business model that we're kind of working on is really how do you maximize a massive facility like this on an island that has a small population, and the fact that we have to now look at different revenue streams of how we can maintain a facility like this and also draw revenue. That's from me.
Mr. Glasgow, as we wrap up, do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share?
Well, we look forward, as I said earlier, to bringing some events to Tobago. We want to spread the gospel of the wonderful facility you have. We have been doing that, and surely, we are hoping by at least October or so, our market should be open back. We keeping our fingers crossed that the all play will be given to have carnival. Yeah, I think it's important in the sense that carnival does so much for our country economically, and with the present hardship.
Well, you still have to be careful, eh?
I know that.
Yeah, we have to be.
You can have your distances and so forth. I mean, the thing is, we have to look at what's happening outside, and the world is, they realize things have to happen because so much of the entertainment business community and so on and sports. So we are confident things will happen, and we look forward, to doing our part, playing our part to make things happen at the highest level possible in this country.
I have one sales pitch to give you. One sales idea to give one idea to give you. You see, like how you have those all white fetes and so on.
Yes.
You must think about doing a revolutionary kind of out of the box, all folk clothing for Tobago, where all the people who come must have a folk costume. Think about it.
Okay. And that's a carnival product or anytime during the year?
Yeah. A carnival product.
Okay.
That can mix with the, you kind of looking at the folkness of Tobago. People come out with their jig hat, their jig costume, their waistcoat. People come out with their big dress. Yeah. However they want to dress, And you think about that in the context.
Mm-hmm.
And you incorporate tambourine music into the event, Get some good recording and produce some nice, hey, don't let my ideas start to run. Because you got to pay me. Yeah, but Glasgow, Randy, thanks for making this happen.
Yes, man. The pleasure is mine.
We tell everybody. We plan to talk to many others. Yeah, man.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Glasgow, for joining us. Thank you to our viewers on Facebook and YouTube at Shore Park Complex. You can look forward to new episodes each week where Mr. Arnold and myself talk with our stakeholders about their successes or successes at Shore Park and what the future would be like on the entertainment landscape post-COVID. Thank you all so much for watching.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Yep.